right now, I still think it would be phenomenal to have some type of platform where we're talking about couples and relationships and we're
I'm
touching on
in.
that.
I'm in. I'm totally
Yeah,
in
but
for that.
you got the experience of that, sweetheart. I do not. Like, I was speaking with Vina the other day because she was like, people keep asking me to do a podcast. And I was like, but Grant always tells us, like, other people's stages, or make sure you bring in somebody that has more knowledge than you so you're not both learning on the come up. So, yeah, I don't, whatever you need, like, we'll have to do a strategy call. It's a little intimidating to me personally. I know a lot of people that do podcasts, but I don't know the first thing it started. I
Yeah.
don't.
I have I spoke to this guy. Oh my God, what's his name? Something Dance. He runs the podcast summit, and
Okay.
so it's a big podcast and a big event that he puts on. And he was speaking at this event that I was at with Bill Walsh, and he was like, "How many of you guys like start podcasts to try to like help people or whatever, you know?"
Oh yeah.
And like all these, everyone raised their hands, like, "Okay, whose podcast is monetizing?" Like everybody's hands went down,
Of
and
course, of course.
he's like, "Look, you guys are doing it all completely wrong." He's like, "Figure out a product that you're gonna sell, and then do a podcast." So it was really interesting to kind of like switch that around
Oh, that's
because you can,
interesting. I never
yeah.
thought heard that.
Exactly. So we have a podcast coming out that we're gonna do. It's called it's probably gonna be called Funnel Vision. So myself and this guy he makes like the funnels for like Tony Robbins, Andy Elliott, Brad Lee, all those guys. So we're partnering up to, oh my God, hey guys. We're partnering up to create a podcast, and the product is to have, either come into the course to learn to build funnels for yourself or hire and have it done for you.
And
So,
that's phenomenal. That's amazing because, especially for yourself and people like Tony Robbins, they already have a brand, they already have a following. People
hmm
know, like, and trust you, they know everything about you. So now you have to figure out, because, yeah, you have your book, you have your investments, now you have your event as well. And then one of my mentors, Rachel Rogers, she always speaks on this that I love on her podcast. She's like, listen, y'all. And then she goes, every break, hers average 30, 40 minutes. So every maybe 10 minutes, I think once or twice per podcast. It's just like, hey, you guys, our event is this big. It might be 20 seconds long in the middle of the podcast. It's like a little sponsor of herself.
yeah.
She's like, go to we should all be millionaires.com or hello7.co. We'll see you there. So at least twice within like a 45 minutes, she'll mention her event. So that's a great idea and a suggestion that
hmm
might help you too. But yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, okay. Well, we'll definitely talk about podcasts and all those things offline. My favorite thing, I definitely want to do a entire like a Course of Miracles podcast. That's like
That
that would
would
be
be
something
phenomenal.
without a product. It's just
Correct.
it's just me
That,
riffing.
no, I think that'd be good. You have a really good voice, Alex. I don't know if I've ever
Oh,
told you that.
thank
You
you.
do,
Really.
because I am very, and I don't know why I'm wired this way, but certain voices, I just completely shut down, or I'll just mute them when they're talking, and I can't. For you, Alex, I can listen to you talk, and I don't care if you're talking about burgers and French fries and salads or picking up dog poop in the backyard. You have a chill voice, and it's just like okay, and it's calming, right? And so you're definitely made to use your voice and whatever avenue you choose. So
Oh
kudos to
man.
you.
Thank
Yes.
you. I do remember back in the day, I was like, oh, I can't like stand listening to my own voice. I wouldn't do anything live or film any videos. But thank you for that.
I
That's
don't
a
like
good
listening to
reflection.
my voice either. That's why when you have to listen to your audible, I'm like, no. If I sound weird, sound like a duck, or sound stupid, like I don't care. Like just listen to the message.
Yeah.
But yeah, I hear that.
Okay.
Probably why
Awesome.
I think there's people coming on.
Yes.
Perfect.
All right. Awesome. Well, welcome everybody to Sunday Morning Miracles. I'm sure people will be joining us here, but we want to get started. I'm gonna have a hard stop at 10:30 a.m. Pacific, um, and I do want to kind of just start by sharing that our event is coming up October 21st to 23rd. So if anybody watching and everything want to know what it's about, just go to legendsimpact.com, and the event is really to rewire, Just like A Course in Miracles says that, it's about shedding a old worldview and taking on a new one where we can live, we can share happiness and receive happiness, and live a life that we deserve, right? So it's about shedding that old worldview where you have to work really hard, you have to play it safe, you gotta live small and grind every day and settle for what is practical, not what's like our dreams. So the past generations have been doing that, and I think today we're at a point where we get to choose, right? We're at this point where like love and fear, like the separation of those two has become really big, and we can see it in the news, and everybody can see what's going on in the world. It's either going to induce fear or it's going to induce love. And so we get to make a choice, and that's what A Course in Miracles is all about, is for us to shift our internal systems so that we can experience the world the way that we want to experience it. And so we'll open up today with A Year of Miracles, and this is Marianne Williamson, and it says, of course, I flip open this book and it's like exactly what we always talk about. Today I will not play small. So funny. Today I will not allow false modesty to keep me from claiming the power within me. God placed it there to be used on his behalf, and I serve no one by hiding my light. Pretending to be less than I am is a game that I play at my peril. In truth, I have only scratched the surface of the gifts I can give to the world, and it is my mission while I'm on earth to give to life all that I have. I arrive on this planet with a store of power, and so far have only allowed myself to experience but a fraction of it. As I devote this power to be used in the service of the healing of the world, it will ignite into a mighty force, such as who I am. Today, I see the beauty and power and importance in everyone, that I might see it within myself. It is humble, not arrogant, to accept the power of God within me. Nothing in the world can match in importance the gift that God has given me. So, again, this course is teaching and reminding us that nothing outside can add to us or take away from us. It's great. It's great that we want to pursue, the fame, the riches, being wealthy, like all of those things we can have, all those material things. It's our relationship to them. The Course says, know that they are valueless, and know that you've assigned meaning to all of those things. It's fine to enjoy them, but don't become a slave to them, right? Because then we start to weaponize those things, and we project shame and guilt onto ourselves and onto others. So as we shed the old worldview, the old operating system that exists within us that we created, actually. The Course says the ego created this worldview, and it is an illusion. The return, your journey back to remembering who you are and what you were created to do here, that is our entire journey on this earth, and we can use everything. We use the material things, we use our relationships, we use money, houses, cars, whatever, with our spouses, our kids. We use all of those relationships to reflect back to us what it is that we are holding as superior to God, right? And so the Course is constantly reminding us, and as we, on this call, simply all we're doing is remembering together, through shares, through what, the Course is going to teach us. So A Course in Miracles is this book right here. My front cover fell off, but it looks like this. It's a 3-part book. The first part is the text itself. The text just kind of goes through all the theories and the practical things of A Course in Miracles to kind of show us all the things that we've made more important. And there is a workbook which has 365 lessons. It's for 365 days. also designed to gently help you remove the old thought systems that you have. Our world, the Course says that our world outside is merely a reflection of our world inside. So what we make, what we believe is real, and what we make as sacred, let's call it, which is all the philosophies that I hold, what I believe is wrong, what I believe is right, what is justice, all of those things you made up. And they're a perspective. So the Course helps us shift and create a distinction between what is interpretation and what is perspective and versus what is truth, what is universal, what is eternal, right? What is of God. So as we recognize those things, then if we see illusions as illusions, we can play with it. We can have fun with it. And we can be happy with it. But if we make it everything, it's kind of like if we go and watch a movie and, we totally forget that we're watching a movie. Like the movie is in our life, like we live it. If we live like that, that's kind of what the Course is saying we do with all the things that we have relationships with, right? So how should my spouse behave? How should my kids behave? What is going to be best for them? What's going to be best for me? All of those stories is like getting lost in the movie. What we do in movie theaters, which it's part of our mind, we actually suspend our belief system, right? We actually have to make that real. Like imagine watching like Marvel and, like Captain America, Hulk and everything, and we couldn't suspend our beliefs to be like, to even enjoy it, right? But we know that we're doing that. And then another part of my own defense system is when I watch like horror movies, I don't suspend that belief system because it's a fight. Like I don't want to experience like being scared, in the horror movie. So I'm like, wow, like I imagine them actually acting it out and it kind of just like becomes funny. So that's what we can do. The Course is like, this is what we're doing with everything, with money, with the feeling of scarcity, or lack of trust into this world. So, hold on, letting someone in. Yeah. Anyways, that is the Course. Oh, and there's a third section called the Manual for Teachers. The Manual for Teachers is it says that it's for students that are ready to teach this to others. But I found it, when I started reading, it was hard for me to get into the Course itself. So I actually read parts of the Manual for Teachers first. Not that that is the way to do it. There's no really right way to do it. They suggest you go through the text first and then the workbook and then the Manual for Teachers. But I went the other way, and it helped me understand the Course. It helped me be more open to the reading of the Course itself. So anyways, that is... Wait, I started off talking about the conference and somehow went right into the Course. Well, so my event is that. My event is about shedding the old worldviews, right? And we can experience a world where there's lack, or we can experience, the trust in ourselves, trust in life, trust in others. How can we build our businesses? Can we do things in our professional lives that impact the world now? Yeah. So all of that is possible. And we talk about the heart set, the mindset, and then also tangible things that you can do, right? So we're going to teach marketing. We're going to teach real estate, because first comes the mindset, then comes earn income, then comes invested income, then we're going to give back. So the vision is going to begin from the back. We're going to reverse engineer about what we want to create, what we want to see the world as, and then we move backwards into the event. So really amazing speakers. It's really cool. Check it out, legendsimpact.com. And yeah, that's the event. And we'll go into the course now. The course is we're in chapter 8, section 6, called the treasure of God. We'll go through that in a little bit, but I would like to open it up for anyone that wants to share on this call. If anything is showing up in your life that you want to share, whatever is on your mind in this moment, we'd love to open the conversation here. Anybody that is on Instagram or Facebook, feel free to do so as well if you want to just type it.
Hey, Alex, I just want to share how absolutely excited I am to go to your conference. I mean, I haven't gone this all out in a long time, and it just feels so freaking amazing to be able to show up for you and for this amazing, impactful event. I know it's going to be outrageous, so looking forward to 6 days in Vegas.
Yes, I'm excited. So many people are coming. It's going to be a lot of fun. Anything else? Anybody have anything they want to share about what's going on in their lives?
Hi, Alex.
Hey.
So I'm actually in Canada, so it's our Thanksgiving tomorrow.
Oh, happy Thanksgiving.
Well, so I just want to say thank you for hosting. Like I've been coming to your event, well, not events, but like like the sessions online for like the past 3 weeks, and I really appreciate you hosting these, and then like I learned so much, and then I was really touched like 2 weeks ago. It was about like how you think about like things don't happen to you, but things happen for you. So I really appreciate that kind of. It's like how I shifted. Like that really shifted for my mindset. So I really appreciate it.
Oh, yeah. Thank you. Thank you for reflecting that back and sharing that. And that's what the Course says. The Course says, look, all of the world, God created this world to expand love, right? The idea of love, to expand it. And maybe for you, it doesn't look like love. It looks like a withholding of love. But the entire world, the entire universe comes together to create the maximum good for all. And that means you are included in that. So things that you may not see right now as good, in time it will. As long as your perspective is the world is working for me, that means when I say that, I shift my mind to looking for the blessings, right? Our mind literally follows, like it just follows the thought. Whatever thought you give power to, the mind will just continue going down that. And then we look out to the world, because the external world is just a reflection of our inner world. Whatever we are looking for, we will find evidence for, right? I remember I used to get in a lot of, I used to want to be really right about that. People that don't eat meat was more conscious. So I would get into these debates with people that ate meat, and we would just all be looking up things on Google for like which one is more healthy, which one is better, all that. And you know what? We found equal amount of stuff. And it's like, all right, well, what's true, right? What are we even fighting for? How much time do we just waste right there? And so the Course says, great, that's the ego. When you recognize that you want to be right about something, that's the ego. Anytime you want to go to defend a thought, that is the ego. Any thought that you have, if you feel like you got to go and defend it, it's the ego. It's the ego showing up. Because truth requires no defense. Truth encompasses everything. Truth requires no defense. And that's one way for us to continue to look. In the Course, as we start to read the Course, there's a lot of little practical things for us to just look back. Is it the ego speaking, or is it spirit speaking? Right? Spirit is kind of quiet but clear. The ego is loud and confusing. And usually that loud voice, that's the ego. That's saying, no, you deserve this. No, you are right about this. And they get to recognize that you're right. It's totally the ego. It's insane. And usually when we attack somebody, we never get what we want. Right? I was having a conversation with a friend in the other night. We were out just in this like network event. I was chatting with this woman, and she was like, I just get really upset with my mom because she drinks all the time, and then she falls and hurts herself and this and that and that. And, I feel like I need to do something about it. So every time I come home, I used to attack her, right? I used to pick up the phone and go, "Oh, are you drunk?" Like to the mom. Like that doesn't support any growth, right? Really. Like unless the mom is super self-aware, she is going to dig a trench and defend herself. So then she's like, I gave up on that and I just accept her for the way she is. Then she says what she did. She's like, it's still not working. I come home and I see a wine glass and I'm like, oh, so are you drinking? And she's like, no. I'm like, why is there a wine there? Or are you doing this? Like, so the ego, even though you think you're not doing it as like active or aggressive, that passive attack is also just as deadly. The ego is very vicious, and anytime that you are like projecting guilt and shame, nobody is going to wake up from that, right? Because the ego wakes up the ego in others, and so we get nowhere. Now, the good thing about that is if we shift that, if we look at it with the right perspective, the ego wakes up the ego in others. That means the Holy Spirit in me wakes up the Holy Spirit in others as well. So what do I get to do? That's why the Course says the only appropriate response to anything is with love. And true and great healers heal others by showing them the forgiveness process. And to show them the forgiveness process is to show them that they were never broken in the first place. And it's the shifting in their mind to say, oh, this thing that I've been fighting, it's also for me. It's also for me. And then that shifting, the release of that lets it go and allows it to be healed. Right? But the holding on to it, the fear around whatever the sickness or the illness is, magnifies it. And again, our external world reflects our internal world. What we hold on to, the darkness or the pain or the suffering or the stories that we hold on to, will manifest into our body as sickness to reflect back to us the state of mind that we're in. And so the Course says that the letting go, the shedding of these old ideas and old worldviews allows us to heal. It's a miracle that shows up when our mind shifts from the world is working against me or my body is sick to no, my body is perfect, to that everything is working out perfect, to this heartbreak is meant here to serve me. This loss of this money, is meant to serve me so that I can serve others. See, there's a clarity in that, in going through what we're going through, right? So some people might be going through like financial challenges. Others might be going through heartbreaks. Others might just be like scared because we've been sitting and playing small for so long, right? We all have something that that the ego's like, yeah, that's yours. I'm poking this button right here, and we're going to keep poking it. We all have something like that, but what does it take for us to shift out of that mindset? And the Course literally says you take it and you flip it upside down. Because when you ask and you give it over to the Holy Spirit, you give it over to God and you say, I don't really know what it's for. I don't know why I'm having a heartbreak here. I don't know why I'm having financial struggles. Why is it that I worked so hard and then I lose all my money in this deal? I don't know, right? So those are the things that we give over to God, because otherwise we're going to project and blame and attack somebody. Right, we give it over to God and we say, God, show me a different way to look at this. Right, the Course has a couple lines that are great for us to just repeat during those times, even though it might not shift immediately, but they're lines that we repeat to reinforce our mind, because words and thoughts create. The fact that we can, in the moment of feeling massive distress, we can say, God, show me a different way to look at this, or spirit or universe, whatever you want to call it. Show me a different way to look at it. That means it says that your mind is open to that there is a different possibility. 2, you say, I could experience peace instead of this. I could experience peace instead of this, right? 1, there's a different experience that I could have, different way to look at it. And 2, there is a possibility that peace could enter. How do I do that? Right? And just keep repeating it until it comes. And normally when I'm going through some constrictions, and whether it's around money or my relationship with my wife or whatever, when I feel constricted, I start praying for that, asking. And usually Spirit comes super clear and tells me, you are a teacher of God, and in order for you to serve others, you must go through certain depth yourself in order to feel that, right? In order to really connect with someone else's pain and suffering. However, once you've connected once, you don't have to do it over and over again, right? Because we tend to think that when we go through some shadow or darkness, that we need to go through more of those things in order to get to the light. Once you got to the light, stay in the light. Stay in the light, because you know the forgiveness process already. You know what is real, and you know what is an illusion. What is of the ego, what is of spirit. So as we study this course, a lot of people think, people say to me, "Oh, I've read that book already." Okay, well, this is not like a book that you just read and you're done with it. Like 3 million copies, over 3 million copies of A Course in Miracles have been sold. Probably 2.9 million of those sit on a bookshelf, and there is a community, but they've all been touched by it, right? Like, no matter how much you read or you've been associated by the course calls to everybody, because the course is not like a book. It's a universal language. There are universal truths that is in the Bible, that is in the Quran, that is in the Tao Te Ching, is everywhere, and it is also in the course. So when we study it, there is a part of us that knows the answers that we are looking for is in here. But it's a lot. I mean, this is a thick book. And half the times when we're reading it, our ADD and our ego is like, yeah, what am I reading? Okay, I'll read this tomorrow. And tomorrow turns into a year, turns into 5 years. But the calling keeps coming. You run into people that's studying A Course in Miracles. You see people, doing these calls. But it is a devotional practice, because we're going to constantly forget, and we need to remember. And so these group sessions, these group things, is just to remember together, because this course, the book that I have, I've underlined so many things, and this is my second book of just being fully underlined. I've read it over 7 times, and every time I read it, I'm like, oh my God, how did I forget about this? It brings that clarity, because it shifts one form of, it shifts a form for me, right? And all things are just healings of different forms. But these forms, although they're all different, they all serve remembering Spirit, remembering God, remembering the way, remembering our way, our will. So this is really the teaching of the course. This is really the reason why we do this. And that I was looking, I think it was maybe August of last year, I decided to take this onto social media, where I used to have a very small study group in this call. And I think Jessica might be one of the only ones that was here from the start, which was like 6 years ago, right? It was a small group. We studied the course together. I was like, we weren't even reading it. What were we doing? I don't even know what we were really doing. We're kind of studying the course and just talking about it, and this year, January 1st, I was like, let's go through the text. Let's go through one section per call, and we just take our time to go through this 31 chapters, 31 chapters, and it is already October, and we're only in chapter 8. So we're going to take probably like 3 years to finish this. However, every word and every paragraph and every sentence in the course is like a microcosm of thought system on its own. They stand on its own. Oh, you don't have, it's not like, let me read the book, and if I don't read the beginning, I have no idea what's happening here. Like, there's definitely some stuff in the introduction that kind of introduces you to the course, but all these sections are just, where's the ego? Where's spirit? Where's the ego? Where's spirit? And it's just a bunch of different ways to show that to us. All right, so yeah, love to open it up for what's alive for anybody here. The section that we're reading today is super, super short, so we have a lot of time. We'll love to, yeah, go ahead, Jess.
I just wanted to say that when we first started, it was weird because it was completely random. You would just like open the book and find a chapter or a section and read from it, and it was always relevant. It was always it always resonated with somebody. It was always like perfect for at least one of us, and not all of us, what was going on. So there's it's always been great. But this this going through chapter by chapter, section by section gives you a pretty much a worldview of how big this book really is, and how many lessons there are in there, and how you could never really be done with it. It's a life work. It's not just a book.
Yeah, I used to love doing that, and I don't think it's ever by accident, right? It's so divinely designed that we would choose to be here, to be with each other, to experience today. And that's I think the majority of the beginning of the calls that we were doing was for me to access and practice that. Because a big part of me in the beginning was like, who am I to bring this to the world? Who am I to read this and teach this to others? And it was like, wow. And as we step more and more into it, I got more trusting. And I think I've brought that energy of trust into real estate, into Burning Man, into plant medicines, all of those. So the course definitely has played a really big part in my life. And yeah, I feel like my calling in this world is just to share this with others, share in the different vehicles in which I do things. So how do I bring more, self-awareness, purpose, and the course's calling into real estate, into personal development, into the Burning Man community, into psychedelics, so just playing in all these different realms, which are different vehicles for me to be able to express, share A Course in Miracles, and also learn it in different areas as well. And bringing that like oneness, that unity into everything I do brings a lot of peace and excitement into my life, peace and happiness. So I got a new book. Somebody actually mentioned, was like, you should get the purple version of the course. The purple version is like much thicker than the actual course. It's got the original handwritten notes of Helen Schuckman. The chapters are a little bit different. Oh, and I think it's got a great like beginning too. So maybe we can start just by reading what this part's all about. All right. Anyone want to share anything before we kind of dive into this a little bit? This is very interesting. And what's cool is at the bottom of the chapters of sections, they refer to a lot of things in the Bible. And they like explain and re-explain a lot of things and shift the perspective around certain things, which is kind of cool. Helen, go ahead.
Hi, good morning. Alex, I just want to share this. I find it a little interesting. I want to say maybe 13 or 14 years ago, I stopped getting TV service. I don't have a TV in my house, and I stopped watching TV, 13 years ago or so. And I'm in a house this weekend now that has a TV. And it's the reason I stopped getting the TV was because they broke the contract that I had with them in the middle of the contract, and that really pissed me off a lot. And so I also decided that TV could bring so much to the world, and mostly what it brings is crap. I mean, and even now, even after all these years, the commercials are atrocious. What they advertise is atrocious, and it's just, and I sit there and watch it and watch it and watch old stuff, you know. So I decided that in listening to you this morning, that I'm going to send a little more love to the TV people, and maybe we can start writing letters. And, you know, just saying, you have a lot of power, you can do so much with this world. And if they do, and if it changes, you can all thank me, and I will graciously bow out. I mean, it's just amazing, that one little part. And just one other thing, I don't know if you've heard about Mary. Do you know Mary Baker Eddy? She's from Boston. She's created the Christian Scientist Church.
Mm-mm.
Well, if you get a chance to read her, I just read her a little bit, and she talked about, she used to go around healing people.
Mm-hmm.
And she talks about the reason she started healing was because she could see God's will, and that made her in a position where she could heal.
Mm-hmm.
So there was, I found that in my old memories this morning. I posted like 2017.
Yeah, love it. I love that Facebook reflects back to us some things to remember, which is cool. But you know, here's the thing too, right? Like we study the course, and we now know that there is a better way. There is a peace. There is a love. There's God's love and all those things. However, God's love is encompassing of everything. We keep forgetting that. We all believe that there is love, but we don't believe that there is love only. Right? We all know that there is love. We can accept that. But we do not, and this is what the Course is telling us. There is love only. Everything that you judge against, that's your own made up things. What is crap? What is good? What is bad? What is high frequency, low frequency? God's like, dude, all of it's the same freaking thing. It's all love encompassed in one. So, if that's the case, then the Course says the world does not need to change, but your perception of the world needs to change, right? Because what we're going to do is, does that mean TV has to produce only things that I deem acceptable as not crap, right? Because now it's like, this is what the Course says, we have an authority problem. The authority problem is, it needs to be my way. I will tell you what way it needs to be. And then somebody else is going to be like, nah, your way's crap. And then we create conflict. And the ego's like, there it is. That's what we need. You tell the world what's good and what's bad. And we'll figure it out from there. Right? Oh, look at that. Hey, Adam. Got the retreat going on. I was wondering where everybody's at. And everyone's in one room. Oh, yay. Okay. So, shout out to Adam and Claudia, who runs the Purple Eagle Tribe, and they have an amazing retreat that they run throughout the year. I'm there at least half the time, so I fly to Florida almost every other month, and they fly out, we fly in, and it's a great space. So connect with them; they're in the WhatsApp chat. So, what is the Course then? Again, we keep coming back down to what is the Course? What is my purpose? What is it all for? That's what we will aim to ask and find the answers to, but only moment to moment. Because it's going to be hard for us to say, what is it all for? And we blast that onto all of eternity, into the past, present, and future. Because that's not how it works. It is always in the present moment that we have opportunities of experiencing the holy instant. We can have a holy encounter, right? And if we look back at our lives, of all the people that have touched our lives, that we've crossed paths with, and where our lives have gone because we've met that person, there are hundreds of those dots. There's actually millions of those things that are happening together. The universe collectively organizing every little thing, from meeting somebody directly to somebody passing you, to the grasshoppers and the whatever that's around, to perfectly design the moment for you to have this moment right here, right now. And this moment right here, right now, with the people that you're with, the possibilities of all of that. It's so great that we can't even possibly comprehend it. So because we can't comprehend it, the humility and the humbleness comes to God. Here you go. What an amazing orchestration you've created here. Way out of my possible imagination, way beyond whatever I can possibly imagine for the world. The maximum amount of love that we can think of is literally a matchstick up against the sun. That is how great the divine is. That's how great love really is. And we comprehend a little tiny fraction of it. And if we can remember that, then the judgments we have of the world needs to do this, and Donald Trump needs to do that, and my partner needs to do this, and all of that just becomes such insanity. When we recognize our own insanity, we can say, all right, Spirit, I invite you in. And the Holy Spirit comes in not from force, but from invitation. When you are finally ready. The reason why the course was written was because Helen Schuckman and William Thetford said there must be a better way for us to relate to one another. And it's okay, there must be. See, that's the invitation right there. Whatever you're holding on to, all of your philosophies, all of your righteousness, no matter how noble you think it is an idea to be let go of, so that you can invite the Holy Spirit into those thoughts. Anywhere that you want to be right about something, the Holy Spirit cannot be there. You're not living into the possibility of the unknown. You're living into what I already know, and there is no growth in that. There is no awakening in that. Right? So, anybody want to share anything from what I've shared up to this point? Or we can kind of dive into the course itself. We can read a little more from Marianne and then see where that goes. Flip open the book. Guess what it says? On what is possible for you now. Why is she so good? She's so good at this. Okay, day 290. On the mortal plane, none of us are perfect all the time. But on the spiritual plane, all of us are perfect all the time. Who we really are, perfect creations of God, unchangeable and unlimited, none of us more or less brilliant than anyone else, is the most positive self-concept possible. Oof. None of us are more or less brilliant than anyone else is the most positive self-concept possible. To identify yourself according to your spiritual rather than material reality is enlightenment. For this perspective, you see, you are the light. No thought or condition of darkness, that is, lack of love in your own mind or in anyone else's, has any bearing whatsoever on the truth of who you are or what the universe has planned for you. Your past, your mistakes, other people's opinions about you, even your failures, do not in any way limit who you are and what is possible for you now. Mic drop. I'm not going to say mic drop anymore. I'm just going to Marianne drop. Okay, so thoughts on what is possible for you now? What are you holding on to? What do you want to let go of? Meh. So, in short, I guess, the extraordinary life that we want to live, maybe it consists of flying in a private jet, racing Lamborghinis, or having a mansion, or being wealthy, or falling in love to the one that you believe is your, your twin flame, your soulmate, right? But having all of those, yes, it's part of that, but it isn't just about those things, right? It's about becoming the person where you believe you deserve those things. So we have to step out of fear and scarcity into trust, into collaborations, into joy. And each moment we have a choice, okay? We have a choice that we can take on this new operating system. We can step deeper into faith and trust. And perhaps this call is the place that we remember that together. And I'm so grateful that so many people join us every single week. That if you're here even for a couple moments witnessing any part of this thing live, this message speaks to your greatness. It speaks into the light that you are, and it's a remembering for you. We can remember for you. We can remember for the world. Because in our mind, all we're doing is choosing trust and collaboration instead of righteousness, instead of confusion, instead of attack, judgments, shame, and guilt. Any of those things don't belong in this moment. And you have a choice to pick those things. All right? And as we step into the chapter here of the treasure of God, before we open it up completely, does anybody want to share anything alive for anyone? Anyone experience anything great this week?
Are you calling on me? I'm just kidding. Only because we were talking earlier today. So I am super grateful that our final trilogy of our Real Women in Real Estate book launch has wrapped up. Because even though, yes, it's been a labor of love, because it started going to all these communities and never seeing women, and I went to McGenna because she had experience as an author, right? She had experience as an author. She knew a publisher. I just had an idea because I was like, where's all these people? I feel like I'm back in corporate. Where's all the women? And now you fast forward, and then luckily, and I did the video on social to thank her and all of our 4 something authors for having faith and saying yes, and also to her for bringing her experience and the publisher in with us so I could actually execute this idea. And even though it was blood, sweat, tears, there was a lot of chaos. I mean, imagine doing that many women, right? It's like herding cats on roller skates. But even like the publisher has their own way, and you have a publisher who's kind of an alpha. You have Brooke and McGenna who are kind of leaders and alphas, and we like stuff done our own way. And when you don't have defined roles and responsibilities, things get a little crazy, y'all. Because we were like 1099s of him. But my whole point to this is we came such a long way, and then when we were actually in the studios, it couldn't have gone any better. Like every woman was helping each other out. Fix the lipstick, fix the hair. Girl, you're popping out. Oh, you just busted a zipper. Let's help you out. Let's make it a trend. Right? And and my husband was there, and my kids were there. And that's why we moved to Texas, was so they can see what the hell does mom do? She's always leaving, right? California. And so to look back and see the phenomenal people that came to show up, the Vina Jetties, the Glenmore Showers, just like people who just knew of the project, just showing up and bringing snacks and bringing food and bringing water. And then we ordered Panera Bread for everybody. Like, it could not have gone better, because leading up to it was super chaotic, beyond stressful.
Yeah.
And Jay, and I tell this to you too personally, Alex. I know.
You're
doing your own events, right? So that's why I have the whole history back end of it. I get it. You're probably stressed to the nines, stressed but blessed. But just know, once you're there and everything is being delivered and people are doing what they're supposed to do, you're gonna look back and be like, damn, I was stressed, but it was phenomenal. and you're gonna be so grateful, and you're gonna be like, it's a proud papa moment. And you're gonna look back and say, you know what, it was worth it because you were going to impact so many people. And hearing all the authors and hearing all the women say, you know what, I never thought I'd be an author. I never thought I would do this. I would never think I would do this. And then crying, and their families, people coming from New York, and one of them coming from like Colombia, like there's no words. And my point for you as well, because this is a double thing, is that you're going to be doing the same. People are coming, and I wanted to be there in person at your event, but I signed, my daughter has Halloween stuff with Dutch Bros. They have back-to-back events, so I'm shuffling kids back and forth for this party and these two events. Dutch Bros, that's what she works. And so my point is, I'm happy. I love it. I'm glad it's over. Full transparent. I'm so glad it's over because now I can propel my publishing company that I started out of motivation of all the hiccups and the craziness. Because let's be real, y'all. Most people start businesses because they get mad or frustrated that what they want or need is not out there. So find something. If you're looking to start a business, what are you currently doing, or what are you in? It's not reinventing the wheel. The most famous products and services stemmed from other people having it and then being frustrated it wasn't done a certain way. So I know your event is coming up in a few weeks. I think it's the 21st, give or take. It's gonna be phenomenal. All the stress is gonna be worth it because you're gonna have so many people walking away with Alex rolling your name off of their tongue about what a phenomenal human you are, the value, the this, and the that. And when that is all worth it. Because the bottom line, we're here to make an impact, right?
Yeah.
And that's what you are doing every day. So I am proud of you. I am proud of me. Thank God it's over. And I'm sure you'll feel the same way. She's like, oh God, hallelujah, it's over. You're going to take maybe a break. And then you're like, all right, when's the next one? So,
yeah, it's funny that you say that too, because literally this whole thing has been such an amazing learning lesson. And it's not, and all I'm doing is learning about why stress. Why worry? Why stress? I mean, how many times I've stressed, right, about something, and then only when we get there to realize, wow, how amazing it all turned out. Like, it's a constant thing that just keeps happening in our lives, and we still keep stressing about that, right? How we stress about, man, how am I going to make it through the next month? And then we still do. And 2 years, 3 years, 5 years later, we're still here, right? So, like, it is about like faith and trust into that. And that's really what, you know, what we're speaking about here is like we're stepping into like faith in God, right? All of this is going to be taken care of. The fact that you're putting any effort into this, there's going to be on the other end some kind of result, right? And the result is going to be beautiful no matter what happens. So yeah, and I keep going into that. I go into stress, and I'm going to, just trust it. It's going to be fine. And then I go back into stress. Like,
I tell myself that every day, and that's how your calls have been so supportive. And it's like when I feel myself getting anxiety or I'm stressed, and I was talking about this with a few people, like, man, I got so much money coming out and not enough coming in. And I'm like, oh my God, and now we have the Starbucks and all these other deals, this other stuff that's happening. I'm like, Brooke, when you're stressing out, remember Course in Miracles, remember what Alex says. You don't have faith in God's plan. So I keep telling myself, you have to have faith. Everything always works out. So that's been really my daily mantra, especially the last couple of weeks. Have faith, and God, show me another way to look at this. Please show me another way to look at this, right? So I appreciate you so much from the bottom of my heart. You helped me so much, and you didn't even know.
Well, thank you. Thank you for those kind words. And yeah, and this is like, we're talking about events, right? But we can all relate this back into our lives somewhere where we're just like stressed or not trusting, and we don't have faith in that moment. And the moment we don't have faith, we're praying for miracles, and we're lost in there. Because we're like, man, it's got to work out this way specific. But, you know, having faith, this is what this whole game is about. Faith is going to bring you peace. The moment you have faith and you trust, that peace comes raining over you again. So just know that, you know, if you're listening to this right now, and whatever challenges and obstacles and fears that you may be experiencing right now, that you could experience something else. Right? There is another option right now. that it is available to you, and that no matter what happens, God's going to show you that you could have had faith in the first place. And so it's just about that practice. It's about that practice of, okay, I'm losing faith right now, and where can I get it? And sometimes we need other people to reflect it back to us, right? We cannot carry this alone. This is what the Course says. You don't need to burden all this stuff on your shoulders by yourself. And I've spoken to a lot of people who are going through stuff, and they're like, I've isolated completely. I've disconnected from the community. I haven't shown up on the call because I just feel so like I'm just going to bring bad energies or something, right? And like, how insane is the ego? The ego's whole goal is for you to create separation. Now, when you're in fear, what up? Look, Fraser. When you're in fear, like, the ego's like, isolate, separate. But the goal, I mean, the way back is always to find the companion that's going to reflect back to you love. And maybe it's through a person, maybe it's through a community, but ultimately it's through your spiritual intimacy with God. And when we sit in meditation, when we sit in different ceremonies, it is all a spiritual, intimate relationship with Spirit. To remember that you are not alone. Okay, and it's reflected to you back on the community of the people that are around you. Who do you keep around you? Because those are the ones that are going to help you remember your light so that you may go out and light other lights. And it takes no work to do that. And our work here on this planet is to do that. Is to remember our own light so that we may shine it onto others. The moment we diminish our own, it's hard. You know, we carry that onto our own shoulders. We burden it ourselves. And God's like, don't. Give it over to me. Right? There is no order of difficulty in miracles for me. Spirit's like, give anything over to me. There is nothing that you could have said, no mistakes that you could have made that has gone too far that I can't correct it in an instant. Correct it. Not punish it. Correct it. See, we fear punishment. And that's why we don't want to share. But if everything is just an error to be corrected, think about how we can view the world. How much forgiveness the world will have. How much trust. When somebody hurts you, no, it's not that I'm going to punish you and attack you forever. Right? Now, some part of us probably is like, nope, here is the boundaries, I guess, to be created now. Nelson, what's up, brother? But if it's just an error to be corrected, somebody simply made a left turn instead of a right. They don't need to be punished, right? Can we be in that level of forgiveness for our brothers and sisters? Because as we extend that to others, we receive it ourselves. And this is one of the universal laws and the laws of God, the Course says, is that what we extend to others, we extend to ourselves. What we remember for ourselves. You know, and so in order to have anything, is to give all to all. That means ideas, right? How many people have business ideas like, I can't share with anyone? You know, real estate deals, I can't share with anyone. Sign this NDA, right? Contracts. I'm like, yo, I've done everything in my life off of a handshake. Never read a contract in my life, right?
Love that.
That is not an advice for anybody, by the way. That is just how I've operated.
Michael Blanc did the same thing with his partners for, I can't think the top of my head, their capital company. The 3 guys that he has, they did a handshake. That was something he shared. So that stands out. And I wish life is like that still. But trust is huge. But I love that. And I wish it was done more like that. Truly.
Yeah, it's funny because, you know, all the speakers and everybody coming, they're like, do we have to sign contracts and stuff? I'm like, yeah, if you want to, you got to send the contract over to me and I'll sign it. But, you know, yeah, anyways, where was I going with all this? Meh. All right, any thoughts?
Having faith.
Yes, it's all about having faith.
you know, having faith, and then you were also speaking about how what really super hardcore landed with me is, you know, don't punish people because they make a mistake. It's just like they went left instead of going right. But I think my pickup there is I'm kind of like, okay, so what? And I know what you're gonna say, Alex. It's not up to you to decide. It's up to God. But it's like, how do you decide if it's something as minor as going left or going right?
I'm like a little voice. I'm like a little voice sitting in your head.
I'm like a Jiminy Cricket. You're my Jiminy Cricket, little Alex on
Oh,
my
that's
shoulder.
funny.
You know, saying, bro, lead with
Bro,
love, don't
bro.
lead with ill will. Look, that's not what I thought you.
That's funny.
But it's definitely.
Yeah, thank you.
Faith over fear, faith over fear. I will
Mhm.
shut up at this second, but one thing I want to say is my mentor, Tommy Jones, and I put this in my chapter of my book. I love it. And he says, y'all, he goes, faith and fear require you to believe in something that you cannot see.
Mm-hmm.
So why don't we go with faith, something that will propel you, instead of something that will hinder you? Love it.
Love
It
it.
lands hard with me, but yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be you.
No, it's beautiful. Thank you for sharing. You know, and these calls really they work really, really well when you guys are willing to share as well. You know, because this is what the world needs. The world needs more voices, right? Of like love, of kindness, of compassion, of what we're doing here as we remember ourselves and remember each other, like the sharing, the courage to share vulnerably about what's going on for us or what we're having, you know, awarenesses around, and to have that to guide the direction there. You know, it helps us to actually be witnessed. It helps us to be seen, to be heard. Otherwise, when we don't truly feel seen and truly feel heard, we will we will do things that, you know, go like kind of like sideways, right? We're trying to like grab attention in weird ways. So, yeah. So the value a lot of times comes from the shares. So thanks, Brooke, for sharing so much today. Morgan, hey, welcome. You're muted though.
Oh, I don't. Okay, am I unmuted?
You're unmuted now.
Am I still unmuted?
You're good. Hello.
Okay, great. Sorry, I'm not good at doing it on my phone. Okay, so you guys you're talking about punishing others, and I'm curious what you would say about punishing yourself. And then I'm going to also share specifically why I'm asking that today, and why it resonated with me. So I've been struggling with getting up at 5 a.m. Like, I'm not a morning person. My body's alarm clock is like 7 is good, regardless of what time I go to sleep. But I read all these books and talk about how like getting up early is so important, right? And I was doing great for a period of time, and then I got off the rocker and I have not been able to get back on. So I would get up at 5 and feed my body, mind, spirit, and heart. Or I would do 100 military style burpees, which is my least favorite exercise ever. So that's like a punishment if I don't get up, because just telling myself I'm going to get up isn't enough. And I'm curious, what your thoughts or what the course, I guess, would maybe say about that.
I don't know what the course would specifically say about that, but I guess I have some thoughts around it, and it's just like, you know, and I actually want to connect you with my wife, because she kind of has the same conversation too. She's like, that's it, tomorrow I am going to do this, and from now on I'm going to go to sleep early and wake up late, and then she doesn't do it, and then she beats herself up, and I'm like what's this like crazy this cycle that you put yourself into? Because really the question is, what are you after, right? What are you looking for, so that I can be more
That's my challenge, because like if I get up at 7, I still get done literally everything that I need for the day. I have like a set list that I accomplish. I have 5 business tasks, and then I don't know if you're familiar with 75 Hard at all, but
Yeah.
it's like my lifestyle. So I have a set thing that I accomplish every day. I accomplish it regardless of when I get up, but I'm trying to test if it actually makes a difference in my life, in the way that I feel, in the way that I approach things, getting up at 5 versus getting up at 7. Because right now I feel like I'll feel guilty if I get up at 7, even though I accomplished everything that I need to accomplish. So really, it's just more like me testing a theory, but I have to hold myself accountable to it because my commitment of getting everything done gets done regardless of when I get up. If that makes sense.
Yeah. So, but you're still after some kind of like really tangible result, you know? And so when you're after some kind of tangible result, you're like, oh, well, that means I need to do it every day. But how many days in a row do you have to do it? What is this? Like, what's the test, right?
So my test is until December 31st, which is 80 days.
Mm-hmm.
That's my test period.
Yeah. Well, I would just say when you don't do it, ask yourself, interrupt the punishment by saying, how can I love myself more? Right? Because the goal is to love yourself more. You want to wake up at that time so that you can test for what, right? Like, what is it all for?
Like feeding those 4 parts, right? Like I work out every day anyways. I read every day anyways. Like I do those things, but doing them in the morning intentionally instead of just like making time at a different time throughout the day, which I may still do anyways, but like starting the morning with intention. I think it's just the intentionality of it.
Mm-hmm.
And also, most successful people who you listen to on a podcast or whose book you read or who speak, they're like, you have to get up early. And that's definitely one of the reasons why I'm trying.
Yeah. So remember this also. Like the Course says, look, know the difference between perception and truth. Like all these people are saying that is not a truth at all. Okay, that is not a truth because there are people that operate way more efficient, waking up at 10 in the morning. Some people just stay up all night, right, and wake up at 2 in the afternoon. It's just like, how do you measure success, right? These are all things that you get to ask. What is it for? What is it for? What is it for? Like we think it's for this, but if it's gonna cause me to punish myself, then what was it really for, right? And so you get to just, I guess the goal. I mean, what you can do is, how do I love myself more in those times, right? Because that's just reflecting back to you your internal like dialogue of how easily you will actually weaponize things and attack yourself. And in that, we'll judge against others, right? So, great, amazing. Tomorrow, I hope I wake up late so I have the opportunity to attack myself and interrupt it by injecting love. You know?
It's more like I will give my reason, like, say I don't go to bed at this time that I intended on going to bed, and so that doesn't give me the sleep that I would need, right? Because, like, the next morning, it's like, okay, well, I'm still tired, so instead of just getting up and carrying on with my day, which is what I need to do to actually test if that makes a difference, right? I get myself in this vicious cycle of sleeping later and then getting up and doing all the things I need to do, but going to bed later again. So it's like I'm trying to fight the battle of giving myself the love of like sleeping more because that's what I feel like I need, versus giving myself the love of forcing accountability because I don't want to do military burpees, which is still really good for me. Like, it's not going to hurt me to do that, right? Mm-hmm. That's good for my body, but I don't want to do them. So I don't know.
Yeah.
It's like a different version of loving myself.
Well,
maybe I'm just trying to make myself feel better about it.
I don't know. So like, look, at the end of the day, it's not an answer that anybody can really answer for you. It's a relationship you have with yourself, you know, but also, does it bring you peace? Like whatever you do, just ask yourself, is this bringing me peace? And that's it. Like, that's the question. Is it bringing me peace? If it's not bringing me peace, why am I doing it? Because I think if I'm healthier, my healthiness will bring me peace. Like, if I do 100, military presses or up downs, whatever, like, what's that going to bring me to my body? Oh, is it going to make me feel healthier? Yeah, okay, I think it's going to make me feel healthier, and then I get sick again the next day. It's like, wait, well, that wasn't the case, right? So you just, it comes down to, does it bring you peace or not? And when it doesn't, that's a place to look, and that's it. Otherwise, you just keep doing your things. But if it's bringing you peace, do it. If it doesn't bring you peace, why does it not bring me peace? It's just more introspective, like internal dialogue. This is a game of self-awareness, because the external world is a reflection of your inner world. That's it. Okay, so like you can externally do all these things, but if you're internally having conflict, none of those things external matters. So like it's about like bringing that together internally so you can have peace with what the decisions and the choices that you're making. So, just be with it. I don't think there's an answer or a question, but I would just become more aware of, is it bringing me peace or is it not? And when you punish and attack yourself and say mean things about yourself, I should have, could have, whatever, just interrupt it and give yourself more love. Like, oh, it's okay. Tonight we'll do it better. Because the more you attack yourself, it's just going to spiral down somewhere else. So how do you give yourself more love? I would just say do that. And then see where it goes, right? I don't know exactly what the answer for all this stuff is.
No, but that helps. Does it give me peace, and am I giving myself love? Those are two very good measurements.
Yeah. Can I give myself more love? But thank you for sharing that, because on some level, all of us are holding on to something like this. All of us have expectations for ourselves and for others. So remember, the Tao, the way back to God is easy for those with no preferences and expectations. But with preferences and expectations, we make it hard for ourselves. We attack ourselves. We attack others, right? Because my wife was doing the same thing. She's like, I'm going to sleep early. That means you cannot disturb my sleep. So now I have to like lightly crawl to bed or like go somewhere else if I'm not sleeping yet. And when I don't, and I like make too much of a noise, then she's like, well, you could have came in more quiet and this and that. And it's just like that. It creates attack, right? When we attack ourselves, automatically this is going to become a projection onto our partners and onto the people around us. So for the sake of ourselves and others, let's just be more kind to ourselves right off the bat. Be more loving. Okay, so I want to...
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. So I want to read chapter 8, section 6, the treasure of God. This section is yes, there's mental health, there's all sorts of stuff. So section 8, chapter 6, we're reminded that no matter how far we drift or how unworthy we may feel, we are and have always been God's treasure. Okay, we'll talk about this section. We'll talk about like how no matter what you do, it can't take away from the true value of who you are. This journey back to knowing ourselves as God's beloved child, no matter what we do, no matter how we search outside, it's about awakening and remembering what is already true for us inside. And so like real joy, real satisfaction, real love, real happiness, real peace only comes from embracing the divine. Okay, embracing what is eternal. And when we remember how much God treasures us, we begin to see this same worth in others as well. And so this isn't like some crazy big journey that we have to go on. It's not a quest or a test that we got to go on for our whole life. It's without distance. And it literally is you answering the question, yes, I am ready to come home. And that's this section kind of summarized. I'm ready to come home. All right, so as I read this section, remember Words are symbols. Symbols can be misinterpreted. And so let's just allow the words to come. Let the words to just travel into your mind, into your thoughts, and allow those things to come and those things to go. And know that even if you hear one word out of this whole reading, it is exactly and perfect for you. All of these words, the phrases, sentences, paragraphs, all little mini microcosms of thought. Okay, it's an entire world within one phrase. That's what's available for you. And allow the words to flow. Allow the thoughts to come. No need to compare it. No need to analyze it. You don't need to even understand anything that I am reading. Know that the truth and the love that comes from this book being scribed, being written by Helen Schuckman, to me reading it, to extending it to the way you're listening, that it's all love. And that what is perfect and what is right will land for you. All right, so chapter 8, section 6, the treasure of God. We are the joint will of the sonship. The sonship is the whole ship, all of us together, whose wholeness is for all. We begin the journey back by setting out together and gather in our brothers as we continue together. We gain in our strength. Every gain in our strength is offered for all, so they too can lay aside their weakness and add their strength to us. God's welcome waits for us all, and he will welcome us as I am welcoming you. Forget not the kingdom of God for anything the world has to offer. The world can add nothing to the power and the glory of God and his holy sons, but it can blind the sons to the Father if they behold it. If you hold on to the illusions of this world, you can blind yourself to the connection to the divine, to God, to each other. Okay, to the frequency of love. You can blind yourself, but that doesn't mean you aren't part of it anyways. Okay, so this is that like faith, that trust that, hey, I could close my eyes and I am still going the way that I'm supposed to be going. We are part of this God love frequency. That is, you cannot change that. You can't change the curriculum. The Course says your free will does not mean that you can change the curriculum. You are not hopping onto another ride. All you're doing is blinding yourself to the ride that you're on right now. And that is God's ride. And in order for us to find peace in any given situation is to open our eyes and say, wow, this is the ride I'm on and this is the path I'm going on. And the surrendering to that gives you great peace and allows you to be in co-creation. The creativity of all that is available to you, the abundance that is available to you, is in aligning our will to the will of God's. Okay, we might have an idea of how we want to make money, but that perhaps is not the way. That might be your ego. That might be you putting the blinders on saying, I want it this way. The more open we can be to the possibilities. What is around us? Who are the people around us? What is calling out to me to want to be birthed? That's the question we ask if we're going to step into true abundance. What is wanting to be birthed out of me based on what God has put around me already? The thoughts that are in my mind, the people that are hanging around me, the people that I'm attracted to, the communities that I want to be in. What's wanting to be birthed? The world, you cannot behold the world and know God. Only one is true. I am come to tell you that the choice of which is true is not yours to make. If it were, you would have destroyed yourself. Yet God did not will the destruction of his creations, having created them for eternity. His will has saved you, not from yourself, but from your illusion of yourself. He has saved you for yourself. Let us glorify him whom the world denies, for over his kingdom the world has no power. No one created by God can find joy in anything except the eternal. Not because he is deprived of anything else, but because nothing else is worthy of him. What God and his sons create is eternal, and in this And in this and this only is their joy. Listen to the story of the prodigal son and learn what God's treasure is and yours. This son of a loving father left his home and thought he had squandered everything for nothing of any value. Although he had not understood its worthlessness at the time, he was ashamed to return to his father because he thought he had hurt him. Yet when he came home, the father welcomed him with joy because the son himself was his father's treasure. He wanted nothing else. God only wants his son because his son is his only treasure. You want your creation as he wants his. Your creations are your gift to the Holy Trinity, created in gratitude for your creation. They do not leave you any more than you left your creator, but they extend your creations as God extends himself to you. Can the creation of God himself take joy in what is not real? And what is real except the creations of God and those that are created like his? Your creations love you as you love your Father for the gift of creation. There is no other gift that is eternal, and therefore there is no other gift that is true. How then can you accept anything else or give anything else and expect joy in return? And what else but joy would you want? You made neither yourself nor your function. You made only the decision to be unworthy of both. I read that line again. You made neither yourself nor your function. You made only the decision to be unworthy of both. Oof. Yet you cannot make yourself unworthy because you are the treasure of God, and what he values is valuable. There can be no question of its worth because its value lies in God's sharing himself with it and establish its value forever. Your function is to add to God's treasures by creating yours. His will to you is his will for you. He would not withhold creation from you because his joy is in it. You cannot find joy as God, except as God does. His joy lay in creating you, and he extends his fatherhood to you so that you can extend yourself as he did. This is all about what the function of our life. What are we extending? What is being extended to us so that we may extend to others, right? Our creations is our symbol of our extension to our brothers. It's a calling, an invitation to remember that your function is to extend and you are being extended to. And in that, we find our joy. We find our purpose. We find fulfillment. Something worthy of doing. You know? It's not just the jobs that we have. All of those things are vehicles. But can we make our careers our ministry of extension of love and joy? That's what it comes down to. See, if we see our career and our jobs as just what it is, as a job, then we're going to get bored of it. There's going to be no soul, no purpose in it, unless we recognize that the vehicle itself and anything we do can become like our ministry of love. An unwilling will does not mean anything, being a contradiction in terms that actually means nothing. When you think you are unwilling to will with God, you are not thinking. God's will is thought. It cannot be contradicted by thought. God does not contradict himself, and his sons who are like him cannot contradict themselves or him. Yet their thought is so powerful that they can even imprison the mind of God's Son, if they so choose. This choice does make the Son's function unknown to him, but never to his Creator. And because it is not unknown to his Creator, it is forever knowable for him. Right? This is why the Holy Spirit and God holds the remembrance of you for you. And this is why true healers hold the remembrance of the ones that they are healing for them. That is true healing. That is the removal of fear. There is no question but one you should ever ask yourself. Do I want to know my Father's will for me? Do I want to know God's will for me? There's no question but one you should ever ask yourself. Great. Do I want to know my Father's will for me? He will not hide it. He has revealed it to me because I asked it of him and learned of what he has already given. Our function is to work together because apart from each other, we cannot function at all. The whole power of God's Son lies in all of us and not in any of us alone. God would not have us be alone because he does not will to be alone. That is why he has created his Son and gave him the power to create with him. Our creations are as holy as we are, and we are the sons of God himself, as holy as he is. Our creations, think about our creations. The things that you are going to create in your life is as holy as you are. It will remember as much as you are willing to remember. As much as you are connected to the divine source, and that energy and that frequency of love is how much your creations will be connected to that. How you will call to others and help others remember. Through our creation, we extend our love and thus increase the joy of the Holy Trinity. You do not understand this because you, who are God's own treasure, do not regard yourself as valuable. Given this belief, you cannot understand anything. I share with God the knowledge of the value he puts upon you. My devotion to you is of him. Being born of my knowledge of myself and him, we cannot be separated. Whom God has joined cannot be separated, and God has joined all his sons with himself. Can you be separated from your life and your being? The journey to God is merely the reawakening of the knowledge of where you are always and what you are forever. Another line to underline. Hold on. The journey to God is merely the reawakening of the knowledge of where you are and always and what you are forever. It is a journey without distance to a goal that has never changed. Truth can only be experienced. It cannot be described and it cannot be explained. I can make you aware of the conditions of truth, but the experience is of God. Together we can meet its conditions, but truth will dawn upon you of itself. What God has willed for you is yours. He has given his will to his treasure, whose treasure it is. Your heart lies where your treasure is, as his does. You who are beloved of God are wholly blessed. Learn this of me and free the holy will of all those who are as blessed as you are. So, summing up that line right there is like our journey. Your journey to God is to reawaken the knowledge of where you are always and what you are forever. And this journey has no distance. This journey is a decision to have faith, and through faith, experience truth. Not from hearing truth, not from being taught truth, none of those things. Is that when we are aligned, we experience truth. And truth can only be experienced, not taught. So anyways, as we wrap up here, we got 2 minutes left. Does anybody want to share anything? Feel compelled to say anything that is on your mind? Take us out and, bring us back to, well, we'll see you guys on Wednesday. But so amazing. The entire tribe over there, sending you guys so much love. That's awesome. That's amazing. Okay, anybody else before we wrap it up? All right, so much love to all of you. Have a blessed day. Happy Sunday, and go out and love more people. See you later.